When I retired 10 years ago, I finally had the time to enjoy hobbies. And so joining a craft group and learning all different kinds of techniques, knitting, crocheting, just making toys. There's a lot of very good fellowship. You get to meet a lot of people. So we're a close group that's very much into praying to God. So we have a prayer and praises section in our faith circle.
Welcome everyone to our 58th podcast, Renew Your Mind. With us today, we have Senior Pastor Paul Gruenberg, and we have guest speaker for small groups, Sharon Greenhoe, and we have myself, Dana Hall, as the moderator. So today we're discussing small groups, and we're going to hear another testimony. And Pastor Paul, you want to cue us up for that?
Sure. So Barb is going to give a testimony in regard to small groups and how they played in her life, and it's very interesting. And she'll talk on two dynamics of small groups. One will be just being in a small group, fellowshipping with one another, or being together with like-minded people. And then she's going to talk about another small group that she experienced that is more intentionally spiritual. Let's listen to Barb together.
Well, one small group that I'm in is in the craft group that comes and meets downstairs in the craft room on Tuesdays morning. And the way I found out about it was in the Sunday bulletin. It mentioned about the craft. And when I retired 10 years ago, I finally had the time to enjoy hobbies. And so joining a craft group and learning all different kinds of techniques, knitting, crocheting, just making toys, that just sounded great. So I went on a Tuesday and it started at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Virginia Newman is the one that's in charge of the craft group. And she's just such a wonderful person. And there's usually about 6 to 12 people that join the craft group every morning. But then there's a lot of people that make crafts at home and then can contribute them. They use the crafts at our Holiday House Bazaar, where we sell them at very reasonable prices. And the money goes towards missions. And that's the other thing I just love, is to help other people out. I really care about worldwide helping people out and spreading the news of Jesus and God. And that's what our Holiday House Bazaar is all about, is we have missions worldwide, the missionaries in the different countries in Africa and Asia and Mexico. And then we have missionaries in Alaska. We have the Redbird Mission. We have the Children's Home in Chelsea, Michigan, that we help out. And so when I started with the craft group, I met some wonderful people. We usually have about 6 to 12 people at the craft group. And there's so many donations of materials that people don't even have to bring any material.
Oh, they just show up then.
They just show up and they can choose what they want to, work on that day.
Oh, wow. That's really neat. How has belonging to this small group impacted your life with Christ, or maybe the other women that are involved?
Well, all the women that are involved are close to Christ and learning about Christ and Jesus. And after we get done with their crafts, we go out to lunch. Well, then one Tuesday, they said that they weren't going to be going to lunch. They were going to go to Faith Circle meeting. And the Faith Circle meeting is one of the United Methodist Women's group.
Okay.
So that's another small group that I'm in.
Oh, well, tell us more about that.
The nice thing about the Faith Circle is it meets on Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So it was perfect timing for me. I could just, go out and grab a quick bite to eat, and then I can go to the meeting on Tuesday afternoon. So it's perfect timing for me. And there's two other circle meetings, Margaretta Circle and the Hope Circle. and one of them meets in the afternoon, and then we also have one circle that meets in the evening.
Okay.
Now, that group is very religious oriented. The Faith Circle group, it starts off and ends with a prayer, and we're asking God to guide us in our decisions that we have to make in the circle. And then also during the circle, we have like a Bible study or devotional that a person presents. And it's just, we have about, anywhere around 15 to 17 people that meet. And we meet the third Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
So it's not real often, but you get to meet some very good friends.
Sure.
There's a lot of very good fellowship, and you get to meet a lot of people. So we're a close group that's very much into praying to God about our loved ones that need help. We're also thanking God for our loved ones and for people that have gotten well from different illnesses or broken bones or whatever. And so we have a prayer and praises section in our faith circle. And then we have a lot of different programs that we're in charge of, like the prayer and self-denial. We work in that. And then we also work with the United Methodist Women's groups, like the pasty making that we have in November.
Oh, love that.
We make about 3,000 pasties, in November over a period of like 4 days. So
oh, that's amazing.
it's awesome. And
well, would you recommend others to join a small group, or have you, maybe you've invited people to these small groups as well?
Definitely.
Okay.
During coffee hour that we've had after church service, whenever you see someone, sitting by themselves, a lot of times it's a new person that isn't real comfortable. They're just, started to come. So it's nice to go and sit with them and introduce yourself. And that's when you find out what their likes are and can recommend what small group they might be interested in. And the small groups that are advertised in the Sunday Bulletin, that's a good way for people to know what's available.
That's great. Well, thank you, Barb. We really appreciate your time and sharing your experiences. Thank you. All right. That was a great testimony from Barb about largely about the different women's groups, small groups in the church. And
now I want to correct that. I've been down to the craft group on Tuesday mornings to just chat with the people that are there. And there is a guy that's a part of that on a pretty regular basis.
Okay. Well, and my past neighbor was the best knitter I've ever seen, and he was a male knitter. So I should not say just women.
No, she did say women. So,
yeah. So what I liked about, two things that I liked about Barb's testimony is the missions. It's not only citywide, but statewide and countrywide. And the circles meet at all different times of day. So whether you have opening time in the afternoon or in the evening, they can fit those schedules. And what was powerful to you when you heard that testimony, Pastor Paul?
So again, she spoke about a hobby-based small group, not remotely spiritual as far as a Bible study or prayer time together. It's just a group of people who love to do hobbies and crafts. And what was really interesting is you can learn from one another. For instance, there's a lady that's in the group right now that does painting. And I've talked with her, and she's willing to help you learn how to paint.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
if you've ever had a desire to paint, you need to just come to the craft group, and I'm sure Claudia could set you up and help you to learn how to paint. Or if you want to do some other crafts, you heard her, Barb, say that people will bring stuff and they'll create stuff, and you can learn how to do more crafts than you ever thought or imagined possible. But I think the bottom line for that craft is some of us want to be involved in missions, but we're not going to be the kind of people that go out on the street and say, hey, do you know Jesus, or that type of overt evangelism. But here's a way that you could be involved in creating an opportunity to make something that you can be proud of, and that it will get sold in the holiday house, which happens 2 times a year, and that the money raised will then go to support missions or missionaries or some aspect of reaching out toward other people. So inadvertently, you may not think you're doing something, but you are.
Sharon?
I too was struck by the fact that God uses our desire to be creative through arts and crafts to not only move us, but others to Christ. I was touched by that. The United Methodist Women, in my mind, I'm sorry, Pastor Paul, are one of the pillars of the United Methodist Church. One of them.
Why are you sorry?
Well, I'm not because we're women. But I mean, they are the pillars. These women are hardworking women, and I don't know if they want this to be known, but they have donated yearly $20,000 to $25,000 to missions, local and worldwide. And two of the things that she mentioned were the holiday house and the pasty sales. Now, the pasty sales are in November, and if you've never ordered a pasty, you have to do that. But more importantly, help. Men, my husband and my son used to go up and peel potatoes and, chop vegetables. They have men and women up there days ahead of time rolling out pie dough. If you've never made a pie, go watch those women roll those pie doughs out. It's pretty incredible. And it's all times of day, so if you can work in the evening, afternoon, whatever. But the pasty sale is such an important part of their fundraising. The other piece of it being the holiday house in November, they have this incredible bazaar. I think Santa comes and has cocoa with the children, but it's an opportunity to go in and buy gifts for, start buying your Christmas gifts. But the women, United Methodist Women, are always looking for new, fresh ideas for the holiday house. What's new out there? I mean, I guess I just got introduced to Etsy and, what's the other, and Pinterest, But young women today are into that. They're online. They're ordering, looking, shopping, copying, all of this stuff. So those new, fresh ideas are so welcome to the overall success of the holiday house. So if you're at all interested, if you can't join the craft group, you can do that at home or get your own little group going in the evening where you come together and make some just really new, fresh ideas that they can take to the holiday house and sell. It's an incredible opportunity. I think that's about.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea. If you can't meet the times that are, set right now, you can come up with a different time and a different, you can grab a couple different people and contribute that way.
They
other thing,
also offered, yes, they also offer, if you're interested in just trying out the circles, to try all 3 of them. Don't just, go to one if you're able to go. But they also offer to buddy you up so you don't have to go alone. I mean, the doors are wide open. And the women that are members of the United Methodist Women are just the most godly women you will ever want to know, and welcoming and loving. And they really need lots of energy, lots of help. So go get them.
Great. And anything else, Pastor Paul?
Yeah, there was one other thing Barb said in regard to the faith circle was the prayer support.
Yeah.
That we pray for one another, and then they have answers to prayer, a time of praise where they share answers to prayer. And if you've not received an answer to prayer or have not been a part of that, that is powerful stuff. When you can say to your friends, God answered that prayer. And to pray in a smaller community of people is so important. A lot of people learn how to pray by being in a group of prayers, people who pray. And so invaluable to be a part of a small group, to develop your own prayer life, to develop your own study, all of those things, to be encouraged.
Great mentorship.
Mhm.
It's an amazing bunch of women, and I just really, really encourage people, check that box off and let them come tell you how you can get involved or help you get involved.
Great. Yeah. And they also just, this past weekend, they had it was a half day women's retreat, and it was very powerful. It was well attended, and we heard some wonderful testimonies, and it just, everybody walked away feeling very full.
I heard a lot of
So,
good things
yeah,
about it.
it was a really beautiful morning, and that was put on by a lot of those women. So hats off to them. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this podcast. If you are in town, you can join us in person at the First United Methodist Church at 215 South Center Street, Gaylord, Michigan. We have a traditional 9 a.m. service and a contemporary 10:45 a.m. service. And if you can't come in person, feel free to join us via Facebook or YouTube, or you can listen to us on the radio at 101.5. Thanks, everyone, for joining.